what I think I want is some sort of, I want to use this alpha channel here coupled with the distance map so that over here I've got like, these easygoing shore ripples, and then over here I've got like some sort of ridiculous bullshit going on. This is what I'm thinking. I think that's the only information that I can actually use, is I'm going to need something here. And I could do some painting texture stuff with multiple textures if I really needed to, but I think that's what I need to do, is I need to just work on something here that I can use for that. Alright, so why don't I just like start with, I'll just like grab all this garbage, like copy paste it over here. And I want something that's going to draw in, let's basically start over on some of this stuff. So I've got the distance. So I'm going to say we're going to go from, I want the shore value, I want something to be there. So I want a color based on the shore value. So if the distance is less than a certain value, I want it to be there. So it's going to be clamped. I think I need that if statement again. So like if the red channel here is greater than like our constant, which is going to be like greater than like 0.5, then it's going to be 0. So we need to remap this value. No, this needs to be 0.5, this needs to be 0, and this needs to be 1. And what I need to do is use this as a multiplier to mask things. This is going to be our mask. So what I want is this value minus this. So it's going to be 0.5 minus this value, and then we plug this in. Yeah, so what we've got right now is we've got this sort of shoreline thing going on. Alright. And I want to take the alpha value of this flow field This mask needs to go all the way over here. So why don't we just copy this? So this will be shore Alright, we'll call it rough shore edge distance. And we'll copy paste that so we can actually edit it. That way we can kind of hopefully organize this stuff a little bit better so as to throw the mask and all the rest out over to the right so I can mess with stuff over here. Alright, so if we have the alpha value for this thing, I think I'd want to multiply it by this and see what that looks like. So this really doesn't look like what it looks like in the world. What it looks like in the world is like this. Alright, so I think I want to see if this value is black or not. Because if this value is less than a certain thing, this should be 0. That magnitude is wrong, I think. Like we've got this gray stuff here. I don't think we want that. Let me just write that down real quick. Magnitude is wrong on edges. And I basically want to say when this is a 0, if this is less than like 0.2 or something, then I want to add a value in here. Disconnected. Oh no. Comcast, why have you done this? Well, I'll just keep recording and working on stuff, and I'll see if this thing actually works. I'll go check my other computer, make sure it's not just this computer freaking out. Nah, looks like everything's off. What am I gonna have to tether my phone and then upload to Twitch via that sort of BS? Anyway, I'm gonna keep messing around a little bit here. So we've got this stuff going on, it's flowing, it's doing its work. I want to do an if statement here. I don't know how efficient these are. So if this is, I'm going to say, like less than 0.01. We're going to have 0, and then we're going to have 1. And then we're going to add and clamp. So when we apply this, at least we've got some values here. So we've got our shore getting detected at least. Well, let's see if I can actually reconnect. Come on, Comcast. Stop being stupid. I didn't skip out on paying my bill this month, I swear. Are we getting back? Are we gonna come back from this? Are things gonna actually, like, come back with chat? Let's find out. Yeah. Internet bill. I swear I paid my bill this month. Maybe. I paid it last month at least, right? That should be good enough. Fucking, it just disconnected again as soon as I started using it. Alright, I'm just gonna ignore this for a couple seconds here. This is great. It's gonna connect again. Maybe it can do it this time. Is it gonna work? It's gonna do its thing? This is great. Alright. Well, maybe I'll be able to get back to doing actual work, right? It reminds me of, like... What? What are you talking about? I am subbed to you, you jerk. Oh yeah, you see? I've got all the things. Because I've got Amazon Prime, so I'm just like, I get a free sub, so I'll use that on... You know, I didn't like make a Smurf account and sub to myself, you know. How else am I supposed to make money if you don't give me yours? Let's be honest here. Alright, I need to... There's kind of an issue here of... I need this magnitude stuff to get filled in for these blank empty pixels. But I need it to be filled in from stuff that's around it. So I need to fix this texture, actually. Because what needs to happen is these values over here don't need to be white. They should be... These values should be black. Oh man. Man, we have our first subscriber of all time. Welcome, Adam. You may not know what I'm working on here. It's this game. It's this game called Dashkin. I'm working on it with some artist dude over in Australia. I do not know who the hell that guy is. I think I met him once at a party. He was drunk with a bunch of designers, which is always a bad plan because you don't want to trust designers to do anything, to be honest. Alright, you're 12 years old? That's okay. Just get the fuck out of here. So, that's cool. Shit. What a day. So I need to fix this texture because the texture's garbage. Yeah, reported. Yeah, that's true. Reported. This streamer is abusive and offensive. And be like, yeah, we know because we used to work with this asshole up on the 14th floor in the Coral building. So I need to fix the texture. I've got these incorrect shore stuff getting written in there, so I'm gonna need to save everything, close it down, and go fix that. Stupid ducks. So now, Adam, in all of your streams, you can just like post the ambient upset. You're like, you know, there's this. I'm working with this other guy. This is what he always looks like. People are like, yeah, that is what he always looks like. He always looks like a frickin' tool bag who's angry and upset about something. It's like, yeah, that's the engineer. He's a very salty individual. So I need to write the shore edge, and we need to not overwrite the weight. All right. Your emote should be your whole despairing face. It's true. Have we not written the magnitude yet? Or we're writing to the magnitude? Alright, maybe it's this. Just take the maximum. I don't know. I'll have to see what's going on with this. Why does all this have to be so complicated? There's just all this little crap I have to do to get everything working. It's so much easier, just like I can just turn a crank a few dozen times and just be like, there, it's finished. Because at least then you know when you're finished. Because it's just like, there's, just keep turning the crank. Alright, where were we? We were looking over here. What? Did this actually save? Because I'm not seeing what I think I just did in there. Yeah, like it didn't save at all. Why not? Yeah, that's kind of not what I want. Alright, well if we don't add this in here and we just use this directly, what do we get? It looks pretty close to actually good. So, and what I thought here was this not being written properly is actually incorrect. This is being covered up by stuff, and this average is just like some crappy blur thing that's working in there, doing odd things. So what I think I should be doing is I should be taking this maximum value when I do the blur. I need, in the final blur, I need to do something different. Alright, so basically what we want to do here is if the pixel we actually are is ground, then we want to take our highest magnitude that we can find and use that or something. So like cached distances index our magnitude is greater than 0, then it's mag. So why don't we just take this out real quick and see if there's something we can use with this. So what I've got to figure out here is how to get this done. And Adam, if you got any ideas for what sort of effects we could put in water, it'd be a good idea to write them down. Because I'm only going to think of a certain number of these things. And there might be something idiotic that I'm missing. I mean, you know something about water effects, right? Like, that's kind of... I mean, no, you don't know anything about water. Well, I mean, the rest of these mock-ups, right? I mean, like the concepts and the rest, you saw me kind of break them down, and sometimes in untrained or different eye can see things that you do that and put them in different words. So maybe a mock-up wouldn't be helpful to you, but I might see something in there that gives me ideas that you already know. Alright, so I need to generate this thing again. So construct the flow field, we'll tick it, and then we'll generate it. So pretty much what I'm doing right now is this texture, this material isn't really giving me all the information I need. I'm looking at these rocks to make sure that there's not like, that this kind of green edge actually, you know, goes all the way up, as opposed to having like little bits and pieces of crap that's not doing anything. So we can see some of this edge, but it's like super thin. It's not doing anything over here, but like over here it is. That's what I'm looking for. Some sort of, I want to add something in here. Make it do stuff. So how am I going to do this? What if we just made this like white? Well, it gets turned into a different ugly color, I think. Trying to mess with this and see what I can do. Well, I basically need some sort of what is the effect that I'm even looking for here? Kind of some non-directional sort of just garbage. Is that what I'm looking for? So if we just throw in some trash, so let's see, shore trash speed. Multiply that. I'll add this in here. Compression looks awful. Let me see. Alright, so you're saying perhaps that we've got some sort of texture here that does this sort of thing. So, well, how does this texture work? Like, this is a texture, right? But are you saying just sample the texture differently over time? Because this texture is animated as far as I can tell. Like, how are you sampling into this texture is kind of my question. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Animated turbulence would be kind of cool, but I'm not sure how to do that. The whole problem with the turbulence stuff here is how do I move through either the noise texture or, I mean, I guess I could take a noise texture and then move through that noise texture over time and then use that to look up another texture which has stuff in it. I mean, what, this one has got a... Well, yeah, you're panning over time, doing a texture sample and multiplying that out with the sphere mask, but it's still, you know, the texture is just moving. You know, when you put it on a plane like this, it's it's obvious, you know, you're just doing two pans. So there's directionality to it on there. The thing would be, how do we look into this texture map in a consistent way that also doesn't fuck up the direction? You know, because that's kind of the issue. Is this water looks like, you know, it's flowing in a certain direction, etc. Maybe if you had it flow in all directions at once, you know, like have it flow up, down, left, and right, all at the same time with different, you know, the same texture, and your eye will just be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. The water isn't moving. So maybe I could do that. So I don't know. I'm just gonna try screwing around with this thing real quick. Let's see if I can do anything. Alright. So we'll just look up a whole bunch of noise. You can watch this flow field forever. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is maybe something like that'll work. It's a lot of texture lookups though, so I'm not super enthusiastic about it. I have no idea if this could possibly work. It's so freaking ugly. Can't see where the hell anything's going. Alright, so that looks like non-directional garbage. Alright, I think what we want to do is, instead of do a lerp for these things, we want to just like add it in there. Alright, starting to mess around here a little bit. Getting some things. I don't understand how this number here is, it's 1. Like if we look at the texture, like how is this? Okay, so this is all black because it's there. Okay. So it's actually 2 to cover everything? That's what adding a whole bunch of trash looks like. It actually makes it look a little bit better when you're at this angle. I could watch Fat Sack die all day. Alright. Well, it's interesting. That's actually not awful. Even though it is total trash and it's, you know, kind of the wrong size for those things, it actually does add a bit when you're looking at it from an angle. It noises it up, which is fine. We're adding some noise to some of these areas that we don't need to, which is fine. I can actually put a clamp on that. I'm gonna tick the top water real quick and see what that looks like. The top water looks like that. So I guess that's what it's supposed to look like. Like, and what we kind of need to do is we need to clamp it so there's kind of, this is a calm area, and then we'll take basically the calm area and then we'd apply kind of the effect that I think Adam was doing with like some of this held ripple stuff in the calmer areas. So we'd have like this shore edge garbage stuff here, and then like we'd fade it out into a separate effect for like a calm area, and then we can parameterize that, so you can kind of like have like a shitty slider on the right to like make the water all messy. Oh yeah, it's all not tuned at all. It just looks like crap, but it's